We are Stapoo Education, and we equip low-income students with digital literacy skills. The pandemic has called for an increased dependency on digital learning for students around the world. This transition has been especially hard for low-income students in India. Despite most families having at least one smartphone and access to cheap internet, pre-existing online learning resources are vastly underutilized by an audience that could really benefit from them. We think this problem boils down to two things. First, a lack of awareness. You can't use something if you don't know it exists. During our interviews with 30 students, 70% of them had used or heard of Indian alternatives for TikTok. Conversely, only 7% had heard of or attempted to use an online learning platform. Our second reason is a lack of digital literacy. You can't be expected to use something you don't understand how to use. As the path in India is being paved for edtech adoption, Stapoo hopes to act as the last piece of this puzzle. Let's look at the progress we've made to achieve this.
In our design sprints, we made progress within these three criteria with the aim to get ready for our second test launch with 40 kids.
Let's start with learning science and game design thinking. Our judges recommended us to look into the fog behavior model. We used this to visualize how Stapoo will induce self-learning behavior. Our demographic currently lacks both the ability and the motivation to engage in online learning independently. We address motivation through gamification incentives and daily reminders to learn. Over time, Stapoo vastly increases their ability to learn by teaching them how to use online resources. Let's look at how our progress achieves this in our app.
During our design sprints, we came across the research of Dr. Richland on improving student outcomes and Dr. Cam on improving literacy using mobile games and micro-learning. Using their work to re-evaluate our own pedagogical approach, we created a new mathematical thinking-based curriculum which better complements the procedure-based method of Indian schools rather than replicating it. Our key learning here was realizing that we did not have to reinvent the research wheel. We also made progress on our digital literacy videos, which form the core of Stapoo. By studying the work of experts like Dr. Sorkar and reflecting on student feedback from our own prototype, we created the scripts and animated the first 3 videos. Based on learning science principles, the videos use relatable analogies to break down complex concepts and integrate familiar Indian elements.
Stapoo brings together the math curriculum and the digital literacy videos in daily learning tasks. This task-based approach builds off Dr. Cam's successful study in India. The first step is to learn about the math concept through a video. Step 2 is where math and digital literacy come together as practice takes place on a digital platform, such as ABCYA, a math games website. In this process, students unlock the ABCYA tool, which teaches them how they can use it to learn on their own. The last task challenges them to explore and self-learn using the new tool. For example, find a game on comparing big numbers, practice, and upload a screenshot of your work.
Let's move on to criteria 2 now, scope. To gain a deeper and nuanced understanding of the problem, we created pre-launch diagnostic tests for both math and digital literacy. The math diagnostic aims to capture knowledge gaps, understand student approaches to math, and have a before and after measure of math ability. The digital literacy diagnostic is based on the EU's digital competency framework, which was actually recommended to us by guest speaker Mr. Anthony Bloom, and Dr. Sorkar's 5-step framework, which allows for embracing the complexity of our problem. The aim is to capture a comprehensive before and after picture of the problem, including factors such as accessibility, socioeconomic and cultural influence, and the internet knowledge and ability. Further, our discussions with Adam Kurakiwala, a Stanford alumni and the founder of edtech startup mGuru, made us appreciate another dimension of the problem, the parents, who can act as both key barriers or drivers of their children engaging in online learning. So we decided to create a third before and after survey to test if educating parents about the relevance of digital literacy during our pilot could cause any shifts in student learning. Data from all these 3 surveys is being collected as we speak. In addition to these tests, we also developed success indicators to get ready for our launch. Based on studies about measuring education outcomes in children, we plan to conduct focus groups, daily student behavior checklists, and in-app tracking. Unfortunately, due to the recent and sudden aggravation of COVID in India, we had to adapt our approach to emphasize remote metrics through WhatsApp, Zoom, and in-app tracking.
Our StartX mentor, Dylan Arena's expertise at Kidaptive, helped us include stronger and more focused tracking metrics. We designed a construct based on the profile of a Stapoo graduate to create metrics to track both learning and user retention. We plan to use these to closely monitor our users' needs during launch. Now, where does all this progress put us, and where do we see Stapoo going? We're about to launch with 40 students in Gujarat. Keeping in mind Dr. Sorkar's suggestion, our focus is to first gain traction in one state. During and post our launch, we plan to iterate on the app and expand our digital literacy content library. Our progress so far has been funded by grants, fundraising, and bootstrapping. We are confident that these opportunities are only going to increase given the growth of digital learning in India.
We intend to use our launch to arrive at a clear picture of what we want from future philanthropists and investors and the impact we can create with them. With additional resources, we plan to reach multiple locations across India and create the ultimate gamified learning environment, which will ensure that low income students in India break through the barriers of digital illiteracy and take control of their education using the most powerful resource, the internet. Thank you.